Hey friend, Happy New Year. I wanted to let you know about this challenge I'm hosting at the end of the month. So you got plenty of time to get in on it. But starting January 30th, I'm going to be hosting my 5-day mindset realign challenge. I haven't hosted this in about a year and wow. I hadn't realized how long it had been since I'd hosted it. So I'm really, really excited to get back into that. And in this 5-day challenge, we will be setting intentions, working on affirmations for our negative thoughts. We'll be, setting life goals, talking about our enoughness, and just really aligning with our mindsets and getting that mentality just back in check. You can never check your mind enough. So mindfulness is a big key in this one. And I would love to have you join me. I'm going to include a link in the description below to go ahead and get signed up for that. And I'll send you emails when everything's getting started and how to get into the Facebook group where we'll be chatting about it and hosting all the live videos every day. So I'd really love to have you in there. Thanks. For as long as I can remember, they've been telling us to enjoy it while they're young. But our days are filled with chaos and stress and cooking and endless laundry piles. Where's the time to enjoy it? Yeah, that's what I always thought too. There's so much I have to do. When do I find time for peace and joy and happiness when I barely have time to sleep? Mama, it's time to make shift happen. You can be a happy mom. If I can, you can. Trust me. I've been a mess. I've been depressed. I've been overwhelmed. I've been to the bottom of the pits, and I've risen. I've grown. I've bloomed, and it all started when I realized I didn't have to anything. I get to. It is my privilege and my honor and my divine responsibility to be the queen of my home. It's not a burden. I'm not a burden. I'm in charge. I'm the ruler. I'm the chaos coordinator. I'm the calm in the storm. And so are you. Come with me. Let's rise, mamas. Adjust your crown. Accept your responsibility. Change the effing world together. It's all in the way we choose to see it. I'm so glad you're here, friend. You're listening to Meant to Bloom with Brittany Clarkson. Hey, friend. I just wanted to let you know I had so much confidence and so much sass about me when I was writing the outline for this episode. But when I went to record, it ended up being so much more nerve-wracking than I anticipated. Which is all the more reason I really thought about not posting this episode. I really did. But it's all the more reason that it needs to be out there. It's conversation that needs to be had. I'm so glad you're here. Bear with me, my friend. This one gets juicy, maybe? I don't know. Thanks for being here. Hey, mama. Today on our episode of Meant to Bloom, I want to get very serious with you and have a conversation about how we got to stop blocking our joy. I've done this so many times in so many areas of my life. Joy is right there. It's waiting for you. What I have realized in this whole mental health journey of mine, all of my personal growth and healing that I've done over the last couple of years, nothing in my life needed to change in order for me to be happy. It was me. I had to tear down the walls that I put up that blocked joy out on the outside. I blocked so much joy because I was numbing myself. I didn't want to feel the negative feelings. I didn't want to feel the sadness. I didn't want to feel scared. But when I built up that wall, I was all alone on the inside. And it made me feel anxious and scared anyway. But the joy was absent because it was locked out. We have to stop blocking our joy. We have to pay attention to the small, beautiful things. We have to get grateful. And I want to talk specifically today about one area of my life that I still find myself trying to block myself from joy. And I'm talking about legitimately just being a cock block to myself. Yes, today we're talking about sex. And I want to talk about it because it's so uncomfortable to talk about And the reason it's uncomfortable is because we don't talk about it enough, right? There's a lot of podcasts out there, great ones, that primarily focus on talking about sex. And here I am telling you how to be a happy mom. Most of you married, you can't really be a happy mom if your marriage is struggling, and your marriage can't be really healthy if you're not getting it on a regular basis. And I'm not talking it has to be super often, but I mean a regular, more than just on birthdays and Christmas, right? I feel I can only speak from personal experience, okay? Because I'm not a sexpert. I don't know all the details and things, but I know personal experience is that when we are not being physically intimate in my relationship, we start to come up with all sorts of things in our marriage that are wrong. Like we start to see problems where there are no problems. And it's simply because we have not physically connected in a long time. And sometimes we're not physically connecting because we're not emotionally connecting. We're just getting tired and going to bed instead of actually like looking each other in the eyes and having a conversation about feelings. So sometimes it's one that causes the other, and sometimes it's the other way. It doesn't really matter how it goes. What matters is that we get intentional and get real. How often, as the woman in your relationship, are you coming up with an excuse to not have sex? How often are you claiming your headache is too bad for sex when really you know for a fact it's not that bad of a headache? How often do we create a headache so that we don't have to have sex? And it's insane. It's insane that we try not to have sex. As married women, I don't know, it's dumb. But I'm guilty of the same thing. So yeah, I'm not calling you dumb. I'm dumb. Um, we're not dumb. We can't talk about ourselves like that. Be a good person. Be a good friend to yourself. We don't call ourselves dumb. We don't do that. I just did, but we don't. We're done. Join the line. Okay, but how often? I want to know because I feel like I'm all alone in this situation sometimes. So that's why I'm putting this out there, having the conversation, so that if you find this relatable, you know you are not alone. Okay, there are times where I will come up with a headache, times where I will claim my stomach bothers me too much, times where I'm just too tired, and I don't understand why I do it, because I enjoy sex with my husband. I do. It's really good anytime it happens. So it just really makes me question, why in the world do I not want it every single night? And I think that there's some other women out there who can agree with me and can relate to that. The sex is good, but we still cock block ourselves. We're literally blocking so much joy, ecstasy, blocking an orgasm. Because why? Because we're ashamed? I feel shaky and nervous recording this podcast. And it's silly that I do feel ashamed of having this conversation. That is some kind of purity culture, toxic society type conditioning that makes me feel this way. Because like I'm a married woman. I'm supposed to be having sex. That's how I became a mom. That's kind of like the calling of all humanities, be fruitful and multiply. And yet here I am, like feeling like throwing up, speaking these words out loud. So why do we feel that way? Why do we block it? I think some of the antidote to this, to stop this whole shame spiral, is to simply talk about it. And you don't have to come out here on the internet and talk. You don't have to get podcasts to start talking about it. Talk about it with your husband. I am so uncomfortable talking about sex with my husband, and that is really silly because like we have sex. But I'm uncomfortable talking about it with him. Who is with me? You're not alone. I don't understand everything about the human brain. Because this is one thing I don't understand. All right. And I can't figure out why I make excuses that I do. I can't figure out why I'm trying to block my own joy. I feel like it must come down to either the shame that has been put around the conversations, um, or it comes down to feeling unworthy of an orgasm. Like, do we just feel like we're undeserving and unworthy of having a good time? We think that sex can't be for us because we're not allowed to do things for ourselves. Um, Good sex is self care. Maybe we need to reframe it and see it as that. A lot of internal magic can happen. Um, Good sex is pivotal. Pivotal? It's not pivotal. It's, I don't know, super important to a healthy marriage, right? How often do you feel like your marriage is super strong when you guys aren't doing it? You feel like there's something wrong with one of you if you're not doing it often enough. Um, Even though it doesn't mean there's something wrong with either of you. It just means you're not doing it enough. But I know we put that kind of pressure on ourselves. I know we do that. Um, I don't know. I think it comes down to feelings of unworthiness. Maybe it's shyness, people pleasing. You feel like it's just something for you to please the other person, and then you get resentful and don't want to do it because you think it's for them. Because if it's for you, you're not allowed to do it because you're not allowed to do anything for yourself because you're the mom and you're supposed to be selfless. That's sarcasm if you can't tell it in the tone. It is not selfish. You are not meant to be selfless. You are meant to take care of yourself. Just to make sure I'm not being misunderstood there. You do deserve to orgasm. You deserve to have fun. You deserve to have sex for you. Just to make that clear. And I'm mostly talking to myself, I'll be honest. I am mostly talking to myself. But we have to stop making excuses. We do. So, how do we stop making the excuses? I think one excellent way to help overcome the excuses is to set a schedule. You don't even have to tell your partner about the schedule. And pre-decide, this is one day of the week, or this is one pattern I'm going to go with. Whether it's, like every Wednesday night, I'm going to initiate. Every Wednesday night, I'm not going to have an excuse. Or if it's, twice a week, or just every other day, every even day, I'm going to initiate. Or I'm not going to make an excuse if he initiates. I will say yes no matter what, which means during that day, you take steps to avoid things like headaches and stomach upsets. Be intentional about what you eat for dinner. Like, we're not going to do chili on a night where I have vowed to not say no. That kind of thing. I think that's one way to really help end the excuses, is when you set aside 1 to multiple days a week where you refuse to make an excuse. You promise yourself you're going to say yes. And then, you know what? If, I don't know, we don't need to go that far in detail. That's fine. We'll skip that. I was going to say, if he turns out to like ruin it for you with bad attitude or something. No, we'll go with this. Pivoting. I was going to say something else, but I'll say this. If he's kind of being a jerk to you, or you are interpreting him as a jerk and you no longer want to do it, and you're going to use that as a valid excuse, fine. Use it as a valid excuse for not having physical intimacy. But also use it as a reason to have emotional intimacy. Take a few moments before you guys go to sleep and stare in each other's eyes. You don't even have to talk about how he made you feel or how you interpreted what he said, how you no longer like him because of how he behaved today, whatever. Like, you don't have to talk about it. If you want to hold a grudge and be grumpy at him, fine. But stare him in the eyes before bed. Hold his hand. And just let that be a moment of connection. Because you'll probably change your mind. Either you'll want to talk about it, or you might just say, I'm done with excuses tonight. I was just looking for a way out. I'm not really mad. That's just my 2 cents. We have to stop blocking our own joy, especially in this area of life that is really just for some reason so difficult to talk about. I wish it wasn't. But with today, I will leave it at this. Stop making excuses. You deserve to have fun. You deserve to have a good time. Look at it as self-care. All right, it's not a chore. It's not for him. It's for you. Do it for you. Thank you so much for joining me today for this episode of Meant to Bloom. It really does mean the world to me. But are you ready to take this a step farther? Check out the description below of this episode and grab your mindset makeover. It's totally free, my gift to you. Then hop on Instagram and let me know what you thought of this episode. Tag me at Britt Clarkson. That's BritClarkson. If any part of this resonated with you, please let me know by tagging me or leave a review and share on social media so other mamas can find this too. If it helped you, it's gonna help someone else. You're part of a movement now. Let's go.